The land explored by our ancestors extends from Altai to the White Sea. The scientific expedition Trails of Nomads continues to unveil the path of our forefathers. Its leader is a true citizen of the world. He believes without a deep understanding of the past, there is no future. Each journey is focused on a detailed study of history and culture. Pilgrim of the 21st century, Sapari Skakov, with a team of scientists, has already visited more than 50 countries. Scientists reveal the exciting secrets of the past. Watch an amazing story of a great journey in the Trails of Nomads program. Today's Trails of Nomads episode presents Trails of Nomads scientific expedition arrived in Ukraine. What evidence confirms that the kobyz found in this country is associated with the Kipchaks? The Institute of Archaeology keeps a bowl with two vertical lines. Is this a generic Kipchak sign? What is known about the Kipchak Khan Tigak buried in the Chingul mound? Ukraine is Europe's largest state. The Trails of Nomads scientific expedition team has already been to this country before. However, this trip has another important mission. Indeed, Eastern Europe was part of the Kipchak. Therefore, in the Middle Ages, the territory was also ruled by the great ancestors of the Kazakhs.
Біздің бабаларымыз бұл араға 11-ші ғасырдың басында келді. Содан 13-ші ғасырдың басына шейін осы арада 200 жылдың сыртында.
Our ancestors arrived here at the beginning of the 11th century and resided in this territory for more than 200 years, in the neighborhood with the Russians. After the Mongol Tatar invasion, our ancestors began to move towards the west. They were called Polovtsi, or Cumans. For 200 years, this land has been home to our ancestors.
Отаны болды. Осы арада 200 жыл тұрды, қаншама ұрпақтар келді дүниеге.
Kazakhs have a proverb. Every 50 years, the country undergoes changes. Over 2 centuries, of course, more serious processes are taking place. Therefore, the Turks, Kipchaks, left a great legacy on this land. For example, kobyz. A musical instrument was discovered in 1985 during excavations on the left bank of the Dnieper River, near the village of Kirov. Kobyz was made of wood and it is well preserved. Therefore, it was not difficult to determine that this was a kobyz. Now it is stored in the Institute of Archaeology at the National Academy of Ukraine.
Біздің алдымызда тұрған, біздің бабаларымыздан қалған үлкен мұра. Бұл 12-ші, 13-ші ғасыр.
This is priceless heritage left by our ancestors. This musical instrument dates back to the 12th or 13th centuries. It was found by Ukrainian scientists during archaeological excavations. It is at least 800 years old.
Экспонаты, міне қазір көріп тұрмыз, бұған құрғанда 800 жыл өтті.
This is the only kobyz found in Ukraine. Therefore, scientists focused on ancient history. After the discovery of this unique artifact, experts began studying the heritage of the Kipchaks who lived in the territory of present-day Ukraine. As a result, many historical secrets were revealed.
Было достаточно много письменных свидетельств, эпических свидетельств.
There was a lot of written epic and historical evidence that the people who lived in Dashti Kipchak land had a well-developed musical culture and played musical instruments. This case was especially amazing because we finally discovered the evidence proving the epic and historical sources.
Но это было только, так сказать, по историческим свидетельствам, по письменным свидетельствам.
Leader of expedition Sapari Skakov intends to order a copy of the finding. During the trip, he took measurements and drawings of the ancient kobyz.
Біздің қазіргі қобызға қарағанда өзгешелігі көп екен. Енді основной мұның бізге қобызға ұқсас жері мұның пернелері.
Compared to modern kobyz, we can notice some differences, but some parts are identical. This artifact has unique shape. It was made of ash wood. We would like to make a copy to listen to a unique sound of the instrument.
Енді мұны біздің қазір мақсатымыз мұның көшірмесін жасау. Ясин деген ағаштан істелген, мұны көшірмесін жасау, сол арқылы мұның дауысын, дыбысын естіп, соны біз халыққа жеткізу керек.
A replica was made shortly after returning home. Thus, the heritage left by our ancestors has revived. The wonderful sound of kobyz, which is comparable to the human voice, as if talks about the great ancestors, the Kipchaks, who once ruled in the Eastern Europe. A musical instrument reflects the culture of Kipchak civilization. Kobyz made from maple roots claims to be the progenitor of not only the violin but also of all stringed bowed instruments. This is the most ancient instrument. A few years ago, Kazakhstan archaeologists discovered remains of the Kipchak warrior in Altai land. The burial dates back to the 7th century. Along with weapons, burial contained kobyz that surprised scientists. This is the oldest stringed bow instrument found on Earth today. This unique find indicates the high level of culture of our ancestors.
Біздің қазіргі замандағы қобызға қараған уақытында кішкене қысқарақ екен. Ұзындығы 72 сантиметр. Бірақ бір айырмашылығы 3 шекті. Енді оны әрине біз жасатқаннан кейін оны тыңдадық.
Unlike modern kobyz, the found instrument is a little shorter. Its length is 72 centimeters. The main difference of the ancient kobyz is the presence of 3 strings. After the copy was made, we listened to its sound. It was wonderful. Compared to modern kobyz, I would say that the level is even somewhere higher, since now the kobyz are 2-stringed and then there were 3-stringed ones. That is, 3 strings have more opportunities, but the neck length is shorter, so the range acts narrowed. Therefore, there are advantages and disadvantages, of course. I gave 1 copy to the National Museum of Archaeology of Ukraine, and the 2nd copy was brought to Kazakhstan. Of course, it will be involved in large concert programs.
Жақсы, бір данасын апарып оларға сыйлыққа тарттым, Украинаның ұлттық археологик мұражайына. Ал екінші қазір бізде тұр. Оны әрине біз ойнатамыз үлкен мынау концертный программаларда.
Scientists at the Kiev Institute of Archaeology are also exploring silver bowl belonging to the Kipchak period in Ukraine. The bowl was found in 1981 during excavations on the bank of Chingul Lake near the village of Zamozhnoye, Tokmak district, Zaporozhye region. Due to its geographical location, this archaeological site is called the Chingul Mound.
Күміс тостақан бұл 12-ші не болмаса 13-ші ғасырдың тостақаны болуы мүмкін. Өйткені бұл Чингульский қорғаннан табылған бір уникальный.
The silver bowl found in the Chingul Mound dates back to the 12th, 13th centuries. This is the place where the Polovtsian, that is the Kipchak Khan, is buried. These 2 vertical lines made scientists consider grave to be a Kipchak. Because this is a sign of the Kipchaks in general, this bowl could be made in Byzantium.
Содан барып білген, мұндағы жатқан адамның Қыпшақтың хан екен. Ал бұлай қарасаңыз, мынау күміс тостақан, бұл шамасы Византияда жасалуы мүмкін.
As a result of research, scientists of the Institute of Archaeology have found that the silver bowl belonged to the Kipchak Khan named Tigak. He belonged to the Tartar dynasty. He was a relative of another Kipchak Khan, Kotian, and had the title of Prince of Galicia Volyn. He was an in-law of the first ruler of Russia, Daniil Romanovich. The remains of the Khan are well preserved and are stored in the Institute of Archaeology.
Чаша происходит из погребения половецкого хана, как я предполагаю, Тигака. Это последний хан, который упоминается.
The silver bowl belongs to the Kipchak Khan Tigak. He was one of the last Kipchak rulers in the mid-13th century. Chronicles of Kievan Rus, the Galicia Volhynia, writings include information about him. The vessel was hooked to the belt by the ring. Chingul Khan had 3 belts with gold stitches and silver gilt inserts. This work, dated to the second half of the 13th century, was performed by German jewelers.
От работы немецких ювелиров, область Рейн-Маас, которые как раз и дали нам дату 3-я четверть 13 века.
The silver bowl was placed at the head of the Khan inside the grave. There were a lot of valuable items and weapons which are now stored in the Museum of the Ukrainian National Academy of Sciences. Head of expedition Sapar Iskakov had a look at these artifacts and talked to the museum director, Vitaly Otrashenko.
Мұнда Тигак ханның семсерін көріп отырмыз. Үстіне киген кафтанын көріп отырмыз. Егер семсерді қарайтын болсаңыз, ол ең үлкен семсер деп айтуға болады.
You see, this is the saber and kaftan of Tigak Khan. The saber is quite large. Its length is approximately 1 meter 20 centimeters. It could belong to a very large, physically developed person, that is, a warrior. Tigak Khan had excellent physique. He was 1 meter and 82 centimeters tall. He was a real warrior.
Сондай мықты адамдар ғана ондай ұстайды. Сүйегіне қараған уақытында Тигактың денесі ұзындығы 1 метр 82 сантиметр болған. Сондықтан да ол кісі ірі болған, жауынгер, ылғи аттың үстінде жүрген, сондай адам.
One can make certain conclusions looking at this kaftan. The Khan was buried in expensive clothes, which indicates his high status. He was dressed in a gold-embroidered kaftan of a rare quality. It was manufactured in Byzantine. An attractive feature of the clothes is the waist area, decorated with gold embroidery. Such production was suspended in 1204 after the invasion of the Crusaders on Constantinople.
Ондай кафтандарды киетін сол уақытында Византияның патшалары ғана. Ал енді біз көріп отырмыз Тигактың үстінен сондай кафтанды. Ол
Only Byzantine kings wore these garments at that time, and we see that Khan Tigak had the same kaftan, which indicates his high status. At that time, the army of Genghis Khan, or rather his grandson Batu, began the conquest of Russia before they came to the land of Dashti Kipchak. Then both the Russians and the Kipchaks fought the conqueror. One of the heroes was Tigak Khan.
Орыстарда, Қыпшақтарда қарсы тұрды. Соның бір кейіпкерінің біреуі Тигак хан болуы мүмкін.
The history of this region at that time was intertwined with the history of Dashti Kipchak. Therefore, Tigak Khan deserves to be honored and respected by the descendants of the Great Steppe. During his stay in Ukraine, Sapar Iskakov asked to return the remains of the Kipchak Khan as well as items from his burial to his historical homeland.
Ал егер сондай жаңағыдай келімшақ
If the remains of Tigak Khan would be given to Kazakhstan for reburial, it would serve as a good example for young people. Of course, it would enhance citizens' patriotic mood. Tigak Khan is our great ancestor. Though he did not live in Kazakhstan, he ruled in the territory that belonged to Dashti Kipchak.
Ол Қазақстанның территориясында тұрмағанмен, ол Дешті Қыпшақтың территориясында тұрды.
Participants of the Trails of Nomads expedition also visited the Chingul Mound. This amazing place is located in the village of Zamozhnaye, Tokmak district, Zaporozhye region. This is a unique mound, which has a huge number of valuable historical objects.
Қазір бізген тұрған жеріміз Запорожье облысының Токмак ауданының Chingul деген жері.
Now we are in the town of Chingul, Tokmak district, Zaporozhye region. After excavating the Chingul mound and objects Found there, Chingul land became famous. Scientists believe that the remains of the Kipchak Khan discovered here can belong to Tigak Khan. The burial had a huge number of items.
Tigak болу мүмкін деген ғалымдардың жорамалы бар. Енді бұларда өте көп заттар табылған.
Written sources contain information about the reign of the Kipchaks in the territory of the present-day Ukraine. However, there was no archaeological evidence before, and Chingul Mound became the first confirmation. It was found by accident. This mound has unveiled historical mystery.
Осы жердің мынау мұражайының директорының айтуы бойынша осы ауданның өзінде
According to the director of the local museum, there are 200 mounds in one district. Most of them were looted. There are 3 or 4 mounds here, and they're empty.
Оның бәрі де ерте кезде тоналған, кейінгі уақытта тоналған, көбісі тоналған еді.
Chingul Mound was preserved most likely due to the reasonableness of its location, and the remains of the ruler are well preserved thanks to the sarcophagus. It was not difficult to determine the age of the Khan. He was approximately between 40 and 50 years. Nowadays, research is ongoing. One of the main tasks is to determine the dynasty and genus of ruler.
Kipchak Khan Tigak'tың
In the museum, we saw the remains of the Kipchak Khan Tigak, the skull, upper and lower limbs. They are still being studied, including DNA. Restudy will take place in Stockholm, Sweden.
қайталап ДНК-сын береміз деп отыр Стокгольмға, Швецияға.
The expedition members visited the Tokmak Local History Museum. Most of its exhibits belonged to the Kipchaks. All of them were discovered in the Chingul Mound. Many artifacts are still possibly underground. Indeed, archaeological excavations have not been carried out here for more than 30 years.
Исследования не проводятся, потому что нет финансирования.
No money was allocated for the research works. For the last time, Archaeological Institute staff conducted excavation in 1984. Chingul Mound was excavated by scientists in 1981. Therefore, many mounds remained unexplored. Now all these lands are used by agricultural producers.
Сельхозпроизводителями.
There are a lot of stone balls keeping a lot of secrets in this region. They also require research. Now it serves as a decoration of the museum. Our museum stores several stone sculptures from the Kipchak period. Here is one of the best preserved. Many of them were destroyed in various historical periods. For example, in the courtyard of our museum, you saw a stone ball with a severed head. Here is its head. It is in the museum. Tokmak is a Turkic word. It means a stake-driving tool. Therefore, this word is used to mean strength and power. For example, they say "Jidere tokpaktay," that means fist like a hammer. According to the director of the museum, this area witnessed a battle between the Kipchaks and the Kiev army. After the victory of the Kipchaks, the area was named Tokmak, and there are many evidence related to the Kipchaks here.
Олар енді экономикалық жағдайға байланысты қазір кішкене азайтқан екен археологик жұмыстарды, қазба жұмыстарын. Олар біздің ғалымдарды шақырып отыр. Егер келіп қосылып біздің
Amid economic difficulties, archaeological excavations are not carried out. They invite our scientists to take part in research. Here's a great field for joint activities. We need collaboration, exchange of information, and historical data. All these are very important components for collaboration. The resolution of this question depends on our Minister of Education and Science. We made a request. There was a number of television coverage, so we hope that soon a large joint research activity will begin.
шықты, біздің репортаждарда болды, сондықтан келесі уақытта сондай бір бірігіп зерттелу жұмыстары болады ғой деген үміттеміз.
The Kipchaks, who became famous throughout the world, had their statehood on Ukrainian land for 200 years. During this period, many cities were built. Sharuhan, Sugrov, Balin. The name of Kharkiv comes from the Kazakh expression Kharkop, which means a lot of snow. Watch the next episode to learn about this priceless heritage of our ancestors.